welcome back to Hope Sunday Let's Talk. We're going to continue on with chapter 6 of Jesus' life story. And it begins. Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. Now it happened on the second Sabbath after the first that he went through the grain field. And his disciples plucked the heads of the grain and ate them, rubbing them in their hands. And some of the Pharisees said to them, "Why are you doing what you're doing is not lawful to the Sabbath?" But Jesus answering them said, "Have you not even read this, what David did when he was hungry, and he and those who were with him, how he went into the house of God, took and ate, showing bread, and also gave them to those who were with him, which is not lawful for any but priest to eat?" And he said to them, "The Son of Man is also Lord of Sabbath, healing on the Sabbath." Now it happened on another Sabbath also that he entered the synagogue and taught, and a man was there whose right hand was withered. And the scribes and Pharisees, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, watched him closely, whether he would heal the Sabbath, that they may find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man who had the withered hand, "Arise and stand here." And he rose and stood. Then Jesus said to them, "I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do evil, to live life or destroy life?" Now looking around at them, he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." And he did so, and his hand was restored as whole as the other. But they were filled with rage and discussed with one another what they might do to Jesus. The 12 apostles. Now it came to pass in those days that he went out to the mountain to pray, and continued all night in prayer to God. When it was day, he called his disciples to him, and from them he chose 12, of whom he also named apostles: Simon, whom he also named Peter, and Andrew his brother, James and John, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew and Thomas, James, and sons of Alphaeus, and Simon called the Zealot, Judas the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who also became a traitor. Jesus heals a great multitude, and he came down with them and stood on a level place with a crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea and Jerusalem, and from the seacoast of Tyre and Sidon, who came to hear him, and healed all the diseases, as well as those who were tormented and unclean spirits, as they were healed. And the whole multitude sought to touch him, for the power went out without him and healed them all. The Beatitudes? Then he lifted up his eyes towards the disciples and said, "Blessed are you poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you hunger, now for it shall be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you shall laugh. Blessed are you when men hate you, and when they exclude you, and revile you, and cast you out. Your name is evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice in the day, and leap for joy. For indeed your reward is great in heaven. And like the manner their fathers did to the Pharisees." Jesus pronounced woes. "But woe to you who are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you who are full, for you shall hunger. Woe to you who laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Woe to you when all men speak well of you, for so did your fathers to the false prophets. Love your enemies. But I say to you who hear, but love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who spitefully use you, To him who strikes on one cheek, offer the other also, and from him who takes away your cloak, do not withhold your tunic either. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from him who takes away your good, do not ask them for it back. And just as you want men to do to you, you also do to them likewise. But if you love those who love you, what credit is that for you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And even if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive back, what credit is it to you? For even sinners lend to sinners to receive as much back. But love your enemies, do good, and lend hoping for nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the highest, for he is kind to the unthankful and evil. Therefore be merciful, just as your Father is also merciful. Do not judge. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. Give, and it will be given back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. And he spoke a parable to them. Can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into a ditch? A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone who is perfectly trained will be like his teacher. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say, your brother, let me remove the speck that is in your eye, when you yourself do not see the plank that is in your own eye? Hypocrite! First remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck that is in your brother's eye. 3 is known by its fruit. Geez. A tree is known by its fruit. Oh, boy. For a good tree does not bear bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. For every tree that is known by its own fruit, for men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they gather grapes from a bumble bush. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bring forth in his good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart brings forth evil, for out of abundance of the heart of his mouth speaks. Build on the rock. But why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do the things which I say? Whoever comes to me and hears my saying and does them, I will show you whom he's like. He is like a man building a house, who dug deep and laid in the foundation of the rock. And then when the flood arose, a stream beat vehemently against the house and could not shake it, for it was founded on the rock. But he who heard and all the things of running, but for he who heard all the things did nothing like the man who built the house on the earth without foundation, against which he stream beat vehemently, and out immediately it fell, and the ruin of that house was great. Oof, man, some of these words I am having a horrible time pronouncing. But there you go. That is chapter 6. Sorry for my horrible reading, but this book is not easy to read. But yeah, there you go. Some of these passages in here, I've actually been taught since I was a little kid. Like, do not judge, love your enemies, all kinds of cool stuff in here. So this is why we need to read a Bible more often. Anyway, that is chapter 6. Join me tomorrow, same time, same place, 3 p.m., YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, for chapter 7. And, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to follow me on my socials. Hope 70 Photography LLC, both Facebook and Instagram, and of course my website, hope70photography.com. Love y'all. Mwah.